back to the Daily Poem here on the Close Reads Podcast Network. I'm David Kern. Today's poem is by Natasha Tretheway, a poet who was born in 1966 and who was the Poet Laureate of the United States in 2012 and again in 2014. She was also the 2007 Pulitzer Prize winner in poetry for her collection Native Guard, and she is a former Poet Laureate of Mississippi as well. And today's poem is called Limen, which was published in the New England Review and then appeared in the Best American Poetry of 2000 collection. It was originally published in a collection from Natasha Tretheway called Domestic Work. And I'll be reading it from a new collection, a 2018 collection called Monument, Poems New and Selected from Natasha Tretheway. Here it is. All day I've listened to the industry of a single woodpecker, worrying the catalpa tree just outside my window. Hard at his task, his body is a hinge, a door knocker to the cluttered house of memory, in which I can almost see my mother's face. She is there, again beyond the tree, its slender pods and heart-shaped leaves hanging wet sheets on the line, each one a thin white screen between us. So insistent is this woodpecker, I'm sure he must be looking for something else. Not simply the beetles and grubs inside, but some other gift the tree might hold. All day he's been at work, tireless, making the green hearts flutter. If you look up the word limen or limen, you'll see a number of different definitions for it, a number of different ideas. You probably recognize the word liminal in it. Seems to be its most commonly used form. It comes from the Latin word limen, the plural being limina, which is threshold. But according to one definition, it's a transliteration into the Latin alphabet of an ancient Greek word, which means harbor, refuge, or creek, which is fascinating, I think, in the context of this poem. The idea of being a threshold, perhaps also a harbor or a refuge. So we, of course, have this concept of thresholds. We have this concept of transition points. We have this concept of junctions. And then we get that the body of this woodpecker is a hinge, a door knocker, an entryway, a threshold. So it seems that for Tretheway, this image of this bird at work busily in this beautiful tree. Catalpa trees are quite beautiful, often quite knobby and twisty, and they have got these giant leaves, as the poem suggests. They're quite beautiful trees, so you've got this woodpecker busy at work in it, and the image of this busy woodpecker is the entryway into her memory, in which she can see her mother's face. There's quite a nice precision to this poem, and it's of course even a little bit meta in how it's thinking about how poetry works. But I'm fascinated by this line, each one a thin white screen between us. And that suggests for me the idea that these memories there's an entryway into them, but you can't quite reach them. They're not quite as clear as the poet would like for them to be. And yet the woodpecker is hard at work trying to make them a little more clear. So insistent is this woodpecker. I'm sure he must be looking for something else, not simply the beetles and the grubs, some other gift the tree might hold. I like that in the end the poem doesn't necessarily give us resolution per se. It gives us more suggestion. But it's the kind of poem that it's not trying to trick us. It's not trying to confuse us or seem, smart or clever. It's, in a sense, pretty straightforward, but it's straightforward in a way that doesn't just give you everything. It's still a kind of poem that's worth lingering and thinking about the way the images connect. And in the end, it concludes by not giving us a clean resolution or telling us exactly what it's about. It gives us a chance to think about it, to wonder. I think that's what the best poems do. So here, one more time, is Natasha Tretheway's Limen. All day I've listened to the industry of a single woodpecker, worrying the catalpa tree just outside my window. Hard at his task, his body is a hinge, a door knocker to the cluttered house of memory in which I can almost see my mother's face. She is there, again beyond the tree, its slender pods and heart-shaped leaves hanging wet sheets on the line, each one a thin white screen between us. So insistent is this woodpecker, I'm sure he must be looking for something else. Not simply the beetles and grubs inside, but some other gift the tree might hold. All day he's been at work, tireless, making the green hearts flutter. This has been the Daily Poem. Thanks so much for listening. Be back tomorrow with another.